My dad was an entrepreneur in Chicago and made enough money to toy with the idea of trying to get an NBA franchise. It was just one of those moments where he said, I've got to do this, or at least give it a shot. We had some people over and they're talking about, well, we're going to get the franchise, it looks like, and we have the Cubs, the Sox, the Bears, the Hawks. We need a one-syllable name and tie it to Chicago somehow. My younger brother pulled a book off our bookshelf called Ferdinand the Bull. My dad looked at the book and he said, oh my God, that's it. We got it. It should be the Bulls.
Dick Klein essentially created the Bulls franchise. The NBA was not inclined to bring Chicago into the league. We've lost too many franchises in Chicago. He insisted. From the beginning, the Bulls set a standard. Dick Klein was the one who wanted a fierce, defensive-oriented, tough team. Hires Johnny Kerr, coach, and essentially makes himself GM.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Getting Johnny Kerr to coach, match made in heaven.
He bled Chicago Bulls.
When you thought of the Bulls, when you thought of watching the Bulls, you thought about Johnny Kerr. When they asked him about coaching, he said, that's 5 guys out there running around with my paycheck. If those guys are good, you're good. If those guys are bad, you're bad.
Well, Johnny Kerr was a teammate of mine. He found out that he'd be asked to coach a team. And he said, Rook, I'm going to take you with me.
number 4 from Evansville is Jerry Sloan.
It was the greatest thrill of my life to play in Chicago. I always thought that Chicago had the greatest fans in the world. Chicago, with the rough and tough people. I try to use as much energy as I got, and it's amazing how much punishment your body can take if you'll punish it. I was fighting for my life and family.
Jerry Sloan is essentially Mr. Bull and becomes to represent what this franchise was all about. We may not have the most talent, but we are going to compete harder than anybody else competes. And that's what that team did with Jerry Sloan as the leader.
That transition from a player to a coach on the sideline, he just had just an incredible knowledge of the game. The Bulls just had such a liking to him.
Number 10 from Southern University is Bob Love.
Bob was one of the first really two-way players. Bob was aggressive, open court, quick.
He catches fire and you can forget it.
But also taking one of the top scorers on the other team and defending him.
That was the greatest time of my life. I finally got a chance to show what I could do.
Bob Love with that fadeaway shot. He'll just kill you with that thing.
Chicago needs to get a good shot this time, and I'm sure they're going to look for Bob Love or Chet Walker.
Chet Walker is ripping it up early in the game.
When the Bulls got Chet Walker, that was a big deal.
He really was the one who changed the arc of the Bulls from that expansion team to a team that was a championship contender.
Walker starting to work toward the top of the key.
And Chet was the finisher.
A turnaround twister. Good!
When you needed a basket, they went to Chet Walker.
There's the big guy, Gilmore. Gilmore had the ball. Once he's got it, nothing you can do.
As a kid, I was so excited when Artis came over. It was kind of the start of when I truly was watching basketball.
He was the first true big man and was generally considered the strongest player in the NBA. And he was the strongest player in the NBA. He was almost immovable.
There's Artis Gilmore, 7'2".
A young fellow expressed to me that he plays me as an individual in 2K. Who would ever thunk it?
He was short because Artis was there. You can't go over Artis.
And Chicago's busted it.
I am so lucky to have played in this great city. Every time I walk into the United Center, see my number hanging up there, I cry. It's a great feeling. I'm so glad I played for the Chicago Bulls, the greatest organization in the world.
I guess what we smile about is that that logo hasn't changed. The colors haven't changed. There used to be kind of a joke, but Dad, the bull always loses. And he said, remember Ferdinand the Bull? He was the fiercest bull in Spain and nobody wanted to fight him. He said, that's what I want the Chicago Bulls to be. The team that nobody wants to play because they're going to be fierce.